A content creator buys fake followers to keep up, but the truth sparks a scandal and public shame. Aria Lane's name had become a whisper in influencer circles. 3 years of daily uploads, vibrant photo shoots, and tireless networking had pushed her to the edge of mainstream fame. Her videos about travel, style, and living your best life had once been an oasis of joy for thousands. But lately, the engagement was fading. Comments slowed. Likes trickled in like water through a leaky faucet. Every morning she refreshed her phone, praying for a spike that never came. One evening, under the glow of her desk lamp, she stared at her analytics dashboard. The numbers looked like a dying heartbeat. Her latest brand pitch had been rejected with the words, "We need higher reach." That night, Aria stumbled upon a private online forum filled with content creators swapping secrets. One post caught her eye. "Boost your numbers overnight. No one will ever know." The link led to a service offering thousands of followers for the price of a dinner. Her fingers hovered over the mouse. Just a little push, she whispered to herself. She didn't know it yet, but that single click would be the match that set fire to everything she'd built. The morning after the purchase, Aria woke to a miracle. Her follower count had jumped by 20,000 overnight. Notifications poured in like a flood, and her smile returned for the first time in weeks. The illusion was intoxicating. Brands started replying to her emails again, and her inbox filled with collaboration offers. But beneath the thrill was a gnawing worry. She noticed that many of these followers had empty profiles. No posts, no photos, no personality. When she scrolled through them, the usernames were odd combinations of letters and numbers, like machine-generated ghosts. Still, the fake engagement worked its magic. Views began to climb, and soon her video about 10 secrets to stress-free travel hit 100,000 views. She celebrated with champagne, convincing herself that this was only a temporary boost until real followers caught up. Yet deep down, a shadow had begun forming. She avoided looking too closely at her analytics, afraid the truth would break the fantasy. The longer she kept the act going, the more she felt trapped in a web she couldn't escape. Weeks later, an email arrived from a major lifestyle brand, an invitation to be their ambassador for an exclusive product launch in the city of Riverton. The campaign promised a massive paycheck and national exposure. Aria's hands shook as she read it. This was the break she'd been waiting for. The launch would include a press conference, interviews, and live audience interaction. Opportunities to showcase her loyal fan base. She accepted immediately, already picturing the glamorous photos she'd post. But the moment she hit send, the anxiety returned. The brand expected a certain level of live engagement. She had bought numbers, not real fans. What if they noticed? She pushed the thought aside, telling herself she had months to figure it out. By then, she reasoned, I'll have enough real followers to hide the fakes, but every lie needs more lies to survive, and every illusion has a crack. In Riverton, those cracks would start to widen. In the weeks leading up to the event, Aria's content began to gain attention from a different audience, other influencers. One in particular, a sharp-tongued vlogger named Mika Voss, had a habit of calling out social media frauds. Mika's latest video was titled The Rise of Digital Imposters, and to Aria's horror, it included a screenshot of her Instagram page. This account grew by 20,000 followers overnight, Mika's voice mocked through the speakers. Totally legit, right? She stopped short of naming Aria directly, but the implication was clear. The comments section exploded with speculation, and Aria's DMs filled with messages asking if she'd bought her audience. She responded with a forced laugh emoji and a typed-out, "Haters will hate," but the damage was done. Somewhere, someone had already started digging deeper into her numbers. And unlike casual followers, this investigator wouldn't be so easy to ignore. Unbeknownst to Aria, a freelance data analyst named Damon Price had been hired by the lifestyle brand to vet their potential ambassadors. His job was simple: verify authenticity. His method was far from simple. Damon specialized in identifying fake engagement patterns. Late at night, he sat in his apartment with multiple monitors, tracing the origin of Aria's sudden spike in followers. The patterns were obvious: bot activity from overseas, identical commenting scripts, and profile pictures stolen from stock photo websites. Damon wasn't one to jump to conclusions, but the evidence was building fast. He saved screenshots, timelines, and engagement graphs. If the data confirmed his suspicion, he'd have to report it to the brand's marketing director before the Riverton event. For Aria, the countdown had begun. She just didn't know it yet. The Riverton product launch was fast approaching, and Aria felt the weight of expectation pressing on her chest. The brand sent her a detailed itinerary: press interviews, photo sessions, and, most terrifying, an interactive live stream where she'd answer fan questions in real time. She couldn't control who tuned in. What if only a handful of real viewers appeared? The fake followers wouldn't magically start chatting. To compensate, she poured money into staging flawless promotional posts. Every outfit was meticulously chosen, every caption crafted to sound authentic and charming. She even hired a photographer to follow her around, capturing candid moments that were anything but spontaneous. Friends noticed her obsession. "You're working too hard," one said. "People love you for you." Arya smiled and nodded, but she knew that wasn't true anymore. People loved the image she had created, a towering illusion built on shaky ground. The higher she climbed, the more she feared the fall. And in Riverton, the audience would be watching live. One glitch, one awkward silence, and the illusion could shatter in front of thousands. 2 nights before the event, Arya's phone buzzed with an anonymous message. "Nice fake followers. Hope you're ready for the big reveal." Her hands went cold. She scanned her inbox, wondering if it was just another troll, but something about the wording made her uneasy. She deleted the message but couldn't shake the feeling that someone was circling closer. That night she dreamt of standing on stage as the crowd laughed, pointing at her phone screen where "fake" flashed in red letters. She woke in a sweat, her pulse racing. Meanwhile, Damon Price was finalizing his report. He had traced over 80% of her follower growth to a single bot farm in another country. It was irrefutable evidence. The only question left was whether the brand would quietly drop her or make an example out of her. Arya didn't know that her enemy wasn't just suspicion. It was cold, undeniable data. Riverton's skyline glittered under the night sky as Arya arrived at her luxury hotel. Paparazzi cameras flashed, capturing her confident smile and designer luggage. To the world, she looked like a star stepping into her moment. Inside, her mind was chaos. She rehearsed her talking points for the live stream, reminding herself to keep the energy high and the answers short. She even practiced looking directly into the camera to simulate audience engagement. But the thought of empty chat boxes haunted her. As she stepped onto her balcony, she saw the city alive with movement, streets buzzing with anticipation for the launch. She could almost believe she belonged here, that she was truly the influential figure her profile suggested. But just below her suite, in a smaller, dimly lit hotel room, Damon Price was also in Riverton, ready to meet the brand's marketing team in person. His presentation file was open on his laptop, titled simply, "Follower Authenticity Audit, Arya Lane." The morning of the launch, Arya received a friendly knock on her hotel room door. It was Clara Hensley, the brand's PR coordinator, with a warm smile and coffee in hand. "Just wanted to check in before the big day," Clara said. They chatted for a while, and Clara asked casual questions about Arya's online growth. "You've been killing it lately," she remarked. "That kind of jump doesn't happen every day." Arya forced a laugh. "Just lucky timing, I guess." Clara nodded, but her eyes lingered a second too long, as if weighing the truth behind the answer. When she left, Arya felt her stomach twist. Was Clara genuinely friendly, or fishing for a confession? What Arya didn't know was that Clara had already seen Damon's preliminary data. Her visit wasn't just a courtesy, it was a probe to see how Arya would react under subtle pressure. And judging by the nervous flicker in Arya's smile, Clara had her answer. The launch event was held in a grand glass-walled venue overlooking Riverton Harbor. Lights blazed, music pulsed, and photographers crowded the entrance. Arya strutted down the carpet, her every step practiced, her every smile rehearsed. Inside, massive screens displayed the brand's logo, alongside live social media feeds where viewers could comment in real time. As the program began, Arya took her place on stage for the Q&A. The first few questions rolled in from genuine fans. Relief washed over her. But then a chilling silence. The chat feed slowed, then filled with strange, nonsensical comments from accounts with no profile pictures. On the big screen, someone typed, "Ask her about the bots." Gasps rippled through the audience. Arya's mouth went dry. She forced a laugh, trying to move on, but the comments multiplied, flooding the screen with accusations. Somewhere in the crowd, Damon Price watched, his arms crossed, knowing the truth was finally slipping into public view. Arya's smile faltered as the comments section became a battlefield. Words like fraud, fake, and scammer scrolled relentlessly on the giant screen behind her. The moderator shifted uncomfortably, clearly unsure whether to continue the Q&A or cut it short. Arya tried to answer the next question, but her voice cracked. She avoided looking at the feed, yet the gasps from the audience told her it was getting worse. Her phone, hidden under the table, buzzed with incoming notifications. Twitter threads, Instagram tags, and even direct messages, all pointing to the same thing. An exposé was going viral. In one corner of the venue, Damon quietly slipped away, satisfied his work was done. The marketing director had already received his full report, and it was only a matter of time before it hit the press. Arya could feel the shift in the room. Minutes ago, she was a celebrated guest. Now, every smile aimed her way seemed laced with mockery. Every camera flash felt like a bullet. The stage lights were blinding, but they couldn't hide the truth anymore. Backstage, Clara Hensley approached Arya with a strained expression. "We need to talk," she said quietly, steering her away from the cameras. Arya's chest tightened. Clara didn't waste time. "We've been made aware of irregularities in your account growth. This is damaging for the brand," Arya stammered, trying to find an excuse. "It was just a boost to get my profile seen. Everyone does it. Not everyone gets caught," Clara interrupted. "We can't have this overshadowing our launch." Her tone was final, her words precise. The partnership was terminated effective immediately. Arya wouldn't be paid and her content would not be used in the campaign. The press statement would say creative differences, but the real story was already leaking. Security discreetly escorted her out of the side entrance. Outside, the street buzzed with reporters and fans who had seen the live stream. Phones were pointed at her from every angle, capturing her walk of shame in high definition. By the time Arya reached her hotel, the internet had turned her into the day's main spectacle. The hashtag #BotQueen trended worldwide, paired with screenshots of her suspicious follower list and clips from the event. YouTubers dissected her fall from grace in real time. TikTok users made parody skits of her staged photo shoots. Even former influencer friends joined the pile-on, distancing themselves from her brand. She tried to issue a statement, claiming she was the victim of a smear campaign, but the replies were brutal. "Show your analytics then." "Sure, Jan, you got caught, own it." Arya realized that in the online world the court of public opinion moves faster than facts. Once the audience decides someone is guilty, no amount of explanation can undo it. Her sponsorships dried up within days. Emails from brands went unanswered. A PR agency she contacted politely declined, saying they didn't specialize in crisis management of this scale. When she finally returned home to her apartment, it felt different. Smaller, colder. The shelves still displayed her awards, photos, and glossy brand products, but they now seemed like relics from another life. Her phone still buzzed constantly, but not with praise. Instead, it was filled with mocking comments, hate messages, and endless memes using her face. She muted her notifications, but the silence was worse. Without the constant stream of approval, the emptiness in her chest expanded. She stopped posting altogether, unsure if she would ever return to the platforms that had once been her lifeline. Days blurred together. Food deliveries piled up outside her door because she couldn't face the world. In the quiet, she replayed every decision that led her here. The single click that bought her followers now felt like the moment she had signed away her career. She wished she could go back, but the internet doesn't forget, and it rarely forgives. Just when Arya thought the storm might die down, she received an email from Mika Voss, the influencer who had hinted about her fake followers weeks earlier. The subject line was simple. "Your side of the story?" Mika's message was short but direct. She wanted an exclusive interview for her channel, promising to let Arya set the record straight without editing out her words. The offer was tempting. Mika's audience was massive, but it was also risky. Was Mika genuinely giving her a chance, or setting a trap to humiliate her further? Arya hesitated, staring at the blinking cursor as she drafted a reply. Speaking out could either start her road to redemption or bury her completely. Outside her window, the city moved on, but she was frozen in place. This was her crossroads, and whichever path she chose, there would be no going back. After 2 sleepless nights, Arya decided to accept Mika Voss's offer. She convinced herself it was her one chance to reclaim some control over the narrative. If she could explain her side with emotion and honesty, maybe the public would soften. The interview took place in Mika's home studio, small, soundproofed, and intimidatingly quiet. 2 cameras faced Arya, the red recording lights glowing like watchful eyes. Mika greeted her warmly but got straight to business. The first questions were gentle, her beginnings, her inspirations. But then Mika's tone shifted. "So," she said, leaning forward, "why buy fake followers?" Arya froze. She had rehearsed answers, but under Mika's piercing gaze the words felt hollow. She mumbled about industry pressure, algorithms, and just wanting a fair chance. Mika nodded slowly, but her eyes didn't break their hold. When the interview ended, Arya wasn't sure if she'd redeemed herself or dug a deeper hole. She'd find out soon enough. Mika promised the video would go live the next day. The video dropped at noon. Within an hour, it had 1 million views. The The thumbnail showed Arya mid-sentence, her eyes wide, with the caption, "Confession of a Fake Influencer." Mika hadn't twisted her words, but she also hadn't softened them. Every awkward pause, every nervous glance, every flicker of guilt was left untouched. Intercut between Arya's answers were fact-check graphics highlighting data from Damon Price's report. Comments poured in, split between pity and mockery. Some viewers sympathized with the pressure she'd faced, others used her own words as ammunition. The internet thrives on schadenfreude, and Arya's fall was still too fresh for forgiveness. Arya realized too late that the interview wasn't a lifeline, it was the final seal on her public downfall. And Mika had just secured her highest view count of the year. 2 days after the video's release, Arya heard a knock on her apartment door. It was Damon Price. He introduced himself calmly, explaining that he was the analyst behind the report that had ended her partnership. Arya's first instinct was to slam the door, but Damon's expression wasn't smug, it was oddly neutral. "I'm not here to gloat," he said. "I just wanted to tell you, you weren't the first, and you won't be the last. This industry eats people alive." He handed her a flash drive. "This has everything I found. If you're smart, you'll use it to understand what went wrong and maybe warn others." Arya took it, unsure whether to see Damon as an enemy or an unlikely ally. When she plugged it into her laptop later that night, she saw not just her own data but a list of other influencers with suspicious numbers. The truth was bigger than her. Scrolling through the files Damon had given her, Arya's mind began to shift. She could expose the industry from the inside, showing her own mistakes while revealing that she wasn't alone. But it would mean reliving the humiliation, putting her name back in the headlines, and possibly making new enemies. Brands wouldn't touch her for years, maybe ever. Still, there was a strange liberation in having nothing left to lose. She drafted a script for a tell-all video. The truth about fake followers, from someone who bought them. She would admit everything, then reveal how widespread the practice was. Her hands trembled as she set up her camera. This wasn't about redemption anymore. It was about burning down the facade she had once fought to maintain. The video went live at midnight. Arya spoke directly to the camera without makeup or edits. She owned her mistakes, then pulled up Damon's data, exposing dozens of names, some bigger than she had ever been. She didn't ask for sympathy, she asked for change. The reaction was explosive. Overnight she gained real followers, smaller in number but fiercely loyal. Others still mocked her, but this time she didn't flinch. She had nothing left to hide. As she signed off, her voice steadied. "If you've watched this far, you've seen the truth. And if you want more stories the industry doesn't want you to hear, you know what to do. Subscribe." For the first time in months, Arya closed her laptop without dread. The illusion was gone, but maybe, just maybe, something real had begun.